Two best friends are saying goodbye. 9 years of their lives ending on a sidewalk, and the way they do it is a high five, hard enough that one of them is still wearing a bandage on his hand in a scene years later. Keep that bandage in mind. When this man finally has to say something real to the person closest to him, he can't. So he hits his hand instead. Because a high five is contact you cannot get hurt by. It's over in half a second. Nobody has to hold on. Nobody can decide not to hold on back. So, the finale. You know the story by now. Barney and Robin get divorced. He goes right back to the suits and the plays and the bar. He runs something called the Perfect Month. And then, a woman he barely knows has his baby. And suddenly the writers hand him a redemption he did nothing to deserve. The internet called it character assassination. 9 seasons of growth thrown in the bin in about 11 minutes of screen time. And I get it. I really do. But I've gone back through this ending more times than is probably healthy, and I don't think it ruined him. I think it's the only honest ending this character was ever going to get, and the reason has nothing to do with Robin. Pull up a seat under the yellow umbrella. Let's decode what actually happened to Barney Stinson. First, let me actually make the case against the finale properly because I don't want to straw man it. The whole final season is one wedding weekend. Every episode building to Barney marrying Robin. That's the payoff we sat through 9 years for. The playbook gets burned. The suits mean something different now. He grows up, and then the finale opens the door on that marriage and knocks the whole thing over in a few minutes. 3 years and they're done. Her job keeps her moving, he can't handle it, and that's that. And he doesn't just get divorced, he ungrows. Right back to the bar, the suit, the bit. There's a Playbook II. There's a run of new plays with names too stupid to say out loud with a straight face. It genuinely looks like the show pressed undo. So yeah, if you watched that and felt cheated, you weren't being dramatic. That reaction makes complete sense. But the show is telling you something underneath all of it. Because I don't think this is a man losing his progress. I think it's a man doing the thing he has done his entire life, one more time in front of us on purpose. To see it, you have to go back to the wound. And if you've seen my video on the hidden pain behind Barney Stinson, you already know the shape of it, but the short version is this. His dad left, wasn't there, and his mother built an entire fiction around it so the kid wouldn't have to sit with the truth. Barney grew up inside a story designed to cover a hole, and the psychology behind it gets specific. This part is basically the whole video. There's a concept called repetition compulsion. It's the tendency to unconsciously recreate the thing that hurts you over and over for the rest of your life. Not because you enjoy it, because your brain never finished processing it. So it keeps running the scene, trying to get a different result. And people do this in one of two seats. Some of us keep ending up as the person it happens to, and some of us flip it and become the person who does it. Barney took the second seat. His father left. So Barney became a man who leaves, professionally, systematically, hundreds of times. He didn't become a womanizer because he loves women, and he didn't become one because he hates them either. He became one because leaving first is the only version of that scene where he isn't the kid on the porch. Every play in that book is the same play. Get close enough to feel something. Leave before they can. And once you see it that way, the whole playbook stops being funny and starts being kind of grim. Think about what those plays actually are. Every single one of them requires him to be somebody else. A fake name, a fake job, a fake accent, a fake tragedy. He is never in the room, he sends a character in to do it for him, and then the character leaves, and Barney was never technically there to be rejected in the first place. Which is a bleak way to live when you say it out loud. Somewhere in childhood, he figured out that the safest way to exist around other people is to not actually show up. And this is exactly why Robin was never going to be the ending. I want to be careful here because I'm not saying they didn't love each other. They did. The problem is what Robin was for him. Robin is a woman he had to win. She was a conquest with a longer runway. He ran plays on her for years. He built an elaborate scheme to propose. He performed his way into that marriage, and performing is the only skill he has. Which means the second the performance ends, and marriage is nothing but the part after the performance ends, he's got nothing left in his hands. So the marriage fails. And honestly, a version of this show where it works would have been The Lie. That's the sitcom ending. Man meets woman, woman fixes man, credits. And 9 seasons of this character are screaming that it does not work like that. Dude was never going to get healed by winning somebody. So he loses her. And then he does the only thing he knows how to do with pain. The perfect month. 31 women, 31 days. And people watch that and see a man regressing. I watch it and see a man in the worst grief of his life running the same coping mechanism he's used since he was a kid, at maximum volume. Nobody went backwards. A wound got pressed on and did what untreated wounds do. 31 nights in a row of proving he can leave first. My guy was not okay. He was rehearsing. And then number 31 gets pregnant. And Barney does the least redemptive thing imaginable. He denies it. Says it isn't his. Tells everyone his life is finished. No growth, no grace, nothing. If the show wanted to write him a hero moment, this was where it would go, and instead he's awful about it. And that's the part people point at as proof the finale broke him. Then comes a scene about 90 seconds long that undoes every argument I just made for the other side. A hospital room. A nurse walks in and puts a baby in his arms. His daughter, Ellie. And this man, who spends most of 9 years unable to say a true thing without a joke bolted onto it, just breaks. Completely. He calls her the love of his life. Everything he has, everything he is, all of it hers now, forever. And he's holding her. Not a high five, not a fist bump, not a suit, not a bit, not a play. He is holding a person, and he is not letting go. And there is no version of this where she can turn around and leave him. The entire ending in one image. Because remember what the wound actually is. Barney is not scared of love. He's scared of being the one who gets left. Every play, every fake name, every exit before sunrise is one long strategy for never being on the receiving end of somebody walking out the door. And a newborn is the only relationship on Earth where that fear doesn't apply. She can't leave. She can't reject him. There is no play to run because there is nothing to win. She needs him unconditionally, and there is no performance available. For the first time in his life, the man has no exit, and instead of panicking, he holds on. And the wording stays with me because it isn't romantic language, and it isn't a joke. Everything he has and everything he is signed over to her. That's not a man in love. That's a man handing over the deed. 9 years of keeping everything for himself, every secret, every exit route, every piece of himself he never let anybody hold, and he gives the whole thing away to somebody who can't even focus her eyes yet. That part gets me every time, honestly, because you can hear in his voice that he doesn't know how to do this, he's not good at it, he's just doing it anyway. Now, the twist. And this is the part that made me completely reverse my opinion on this ending. The perfect month is the worst thing Barney Stinson does in the entire series. It's the lowest, emptiest, most hollowed out version of him. And it is the exact thing that produces the only love that ever actually landed. He didn't earn Ellie. Let's be honest about that. He didn't work on himself, go to therapy, do the reading, become worthy, and then get rewarded with a child. He behaved badly and got handed something enormous by accident. And that's precisely why it works. Because a man whose entire identity is built on the con could never have believed in something he won. He'd have found the angle, he'd have assumed he manipulated it into existence, and then he'd have waited for it to leave, and then he'd have left first. The only gift Barney could ever actually accept is one he had no hand in. Something that arrived despite him, not because of him. That's the only shape of love his brain can't argue with. And if you think the writers pulled this out of nowhere in the last 20 minutes, they didn't. Go back to season 2. There's an episode where Barney meets his brother's baby, and for one scene the whole armor just falls off him. Same man, same reaction. 7 years earlier. It's been sitting there the entire time. Nobody clocked it because it was played for laughs. So no, the finale didn't ruin him. It refused to give him the ending we wanted, which was a woman fixing him, and gave him the one that was true to the actual wound instead. And I'll be honest, I still think the episode is rushed. 11 minutes for a divorce and a baby is not enough room, and a lot of the anger at that finale is really anger at the pacing. That part is fair, but rushed is not the same thing as wrong. One more time on the high five and then I'll let you go. That gesture is Barney's entire personality compressed into half a second. It's warm, and it's funny, and it costs him absolutely nothing. Nobody holds on. Nobody has to. He built a whole life out of a goodbye you can do at arm's length. And the last thing this show ever gives him is the exact opposite. A person in his arms that he does not put down. If you want the full story of where that wound came from in the first place, the lie his mother built, and what it cost him, I made a whole video on it. It's the front half of this one, honestly. I'll link it. But before you go, the thing I actually want to leave you with, everybody knows someone who does the high five. The friend who's hilarious for 4 hours and tells you nothing. The parent who asks about your job instead of asking about you. The one who leaves relationships a week before they were going to get serious every single time, and always has a very reasonable explanation for it. And maybe that person is you. Maybe you're the one who exits first, who keeps it light, who makes the joke right when the conversation gets close to something. It doesn't come from being cold. It usually comes from somebody leaving you a long time ago, and your body deciding quietly, never again. Barney needed a person who couldn't leave before he could learn how to hold on. Most of us don't get handed one of those. Most of us have to just try it with somebody who absolutely could walk out and stay anyway. That's the harder version. That's the real one. If that landed, if you've got a high five you've been giving people for years, subscribe and pull up a seat. This channel is about the parts of these characters that are really just the parts of us we haven't looked at yet. That's Barney Stinson. Not ruined. Just finally out of plays. I'm decoding How I Met Your Mother, one character at a time. I'll see you in the next one.